For the most realistic steering system available on the market, look no further than Sim Steering from Leo Bodnar. Designed and hand-built at the home of British Motorsport's Silverstone circuit, it's extensively used by professional driver training centres and race teams including Formula 1 since 2010. The high precision and completely linear response coupled with high strength provides the ultimate in realistic steering force feedback. Visit simsteering.com. And good evening iRacers, welcome to the Skip Barber 2K Cup Round 7 brought to you by ARL TV. My name is Lee Thompson as normal. Joining me on double duty as he has been for the last couple of weeks again is Alex Simpson. Good evening Alex.
Good evening Lee, good to be back.
Yes, we are looking forward very much to our event here at Circuit Park Zandvoort in these little Skippy cars. The guys are just in the process of completing their first qualifying attempt of 3 laps they have available to them in this 10-minute qualifying session, and Bart Delat looks to be at the moment the top of the pack, Alex.
Yeah, good performance so far. I didn't actually catch who was at the top of practice sessions, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they play out. Bart Delat actually moved himself into the top 10 of the championship for the first time, which is good to see. So he had some good performance last week. Barber, weren't we? There we go. The name lost me for a moment there, but we're missing Sebastian and a couple of other drivers from the championship this week, though.
Yeah, I think from the top 10 standings in the championship so far, I think we're missing Matteo Brancini, Sebastian Job, LJ Garnett, and Clive Armstrong, I believe. So yeah, a few names missing, but we still got some of the big hitters in here as well. So as I say, Bart Delat moved into that 9th position in standings now, and he was actually quickest in practice, Alex. So this qualifying lap he's put in so far has cemented that so far, and we've got Ricardo Ferreira then in 2nd with Vinicius Rocha in 3rd currently provisionally. So we're looking to see a big fight, I think, between these 3. Bart Delat had a big step up in pace, it seemed, last week, and it seems like he's made a similar step again.
Yeah, good to see actually. I always felt that he showed good pace in the sort of pre-rounds that we did. Specifically, I remember that he was quite strong at Bathurst until he hit the wall there. But yeah, so I felt like he had good pace for this championship. So it's good to see him up there and fighting. Just seen Ferrer just drop himself into 2nd place as well. So, like you say, I think we're going to have good battle all around. Just looking at a new name that I haven't seen before, sitting in provisional 4th, which is Gammet, is it? Lionel there. So Yeah, new name I haven't seen, so he looks particularly quick out there.
Yeah, looking to get right in amongst it straight away. Otherwise, looking scrolling down, I think we've pretty much got rest of names that we're familiar with, certainly in the top half of the field. We're waiting for the guys now to put in their very final qualifying lap. Bart Delat, after his second attempt, is still top of the standings with Ricardo Ferreira in second and Vinicius Rocha in third. And I see Vinicius Rocha has a big old clunk of the inside curb coming through turn 5 and 6, and hopefully got away without any major damage to complete his lap there.
Just looking on screen at the moment, we've got Matt Defoe. He's way down there in 18th place at the moment, so really struggling, and he found himself slipping out of the top 10 of the championship as well. So yeah, a few drivers that have been in and around there from the start of the season seeming to struggle a little bit now.
Yeah, I think Defoe perhaps had a little bit of a weaker run last time out, so he'll be looking to try and get back to perhaps the performance he's been expecting from the rest of the season. But we'll see how he finishes up, as most of the cars I think are just completing their final lap now.
Talking to a couple of the drivers actually before the start of this race, and they were saying the circuit actually feels quite nice to him out there, quite grippy. Said it should be quite a fun race, so certainly seen some overtaking going on down that back straight, so we definitely could be in for a treat here.
Right, so Bart Delat manages to improve again on his final attempt, so he's down to a 1 minute 54.256. That matches his practice time, just 0.03 of a second off practice. Currently Philip Labour has jumped ahead into second now with a 54.319. That's relegated Ferreira and Rocha down to third and fourth, and I think they have completed their laps already. They have. So we've got Graham Carroll still on a lap, who I would say is the guy with the most opportunity to challenge, but he has a big oversteer moment heading through turn 6, gathers it up and see if he decides to continue the lap or not. But otherwise I think those top half dozen spots are done, and Graham Carroll's aborted his lap.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. That looks so out of shape. Amazing recovery, kept it pointing forwards, but yeah, sure not the fastest way around. Duncan Coppage still out there. I think that's probably about that. Will Fisher as well seems to be circulating. The guys are going to be running out of time, and we've seen this before actually, where they leave qualifying a little late and get cut short. And I think actually that's Duncan. He's finished his run as well. 16th place for him. Will Fisher still out there. Actually, I think Will was one of the drivers who got cut short in a previous round as well. I'm trying to think, when we saw Will last, was that
I think New Hampshire.
Yeah, New Hampshire. Yeah, I was just trying to remember which oval it was. New Hampshire.
He was running. Yeah. I think it was running pretty strong. So a top 6 I think to start with. I think he had an incident at some point which put him a bit further down, but he manages to improve his time and goes up to 17th. Looks like he's. Yeah, now that his lap was completed. I was going to say I thought he was going to go full speed into turn 1, but he wouldn't have had time anyway. Right, so that's the qualifying results then. So congratulations to Bart Delat for his first pole position here in the Skip Barber 2K Cup. That's a nice little bonus of a few points before he even starts the race. So great positive start for him. Philip Labour then alongside him on the front row with a 54.319, so just 0.06 of a second down. Then row 2 is Ricardo Ferreira and Vinicius Rocha third and fourth. Then we have Lionel Gometz, who we spoke about a moment ago, in 5th, with Marco Derrickson in 6th. Graham Carroll in 7th, with Stein Shorthurst in 8th. We saw Stein a bit earlier in the season, maybe not for the last couple of rounds. Chris McGowan then in 9th, with Paul Clapp then in 10th. Fahim Antoinades in 11th, and Vincent Marti in 12th. Ludwig Paranez in 13th, George Wiseman 14th. Carlos Casas 15th, Duncan Coppage in 16th. Will Fisher, who I was just seeing at the end there, in 17th, and Rob Reed in 18th. Matt Defoe didn't really manage to improve us all, so down in 19th with Victor Incensio in 20th, Thomas Torp in 21st, Mike McCormick in 22nd, Peter Joyce 23rd, Dan Nygaard in 24th, Frank Castillo in 25th, Rob Adams 26th, Daniel Palez in 27th, and Edward Cavalier in 28th. A little bit of a fuller grid this week, Alex.
Yeah, nice to see that bounce back. I know we said we were missing a few names, but still, for the most part, the numbers are picked back up a little bit, so that's always good to see.
So I think we've got most of the cars on the grid now, only seeing a couple of gaps down there as we wait for the last seconds to tick down until the green flag. Bart Delat is going to have the outside line heading towards turn 1, but we don't tend to see much of a difference between all of these cars off the line, Alex, do they? They all get away pretty evenly, so we'll see how it feeds from turn 1 to 2.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a couple of guys occasionally get a little bit bogged down and whatnot, but yeah, I think it's pretty even going into this turn one, banked corner turn one as well, so guys can run it round the outside, so watch out for that as well. Very tricky turn three, I think that's going to be the issue, and a lot of guys run wide in turn two, so.
I'm here in the Revs building now, so round 7 of the Skip Barber 2K Cup about to begin from Circuit Park Zandvoort. Green flag drops and the front few rows are all away pretty clean. I see a little bit of movement further back, but Bart de Laat's going to have that momentum, I think, into turn 1. But we've got a little bit of movement and with Vinicius Rocha and Ricardo Ferreira for 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, good clean start as far as I can see. This is turn 2 is the tricky one if they're side by side going into it.
Yeah, the top 6 cars are single file. I see a little bit of movement further back with Marco Derricks trying to go around the outside of Stein Straughurst. I think Stein's got that position made. Oh, a little bit of wheel contact, but I think they both get away with it with no damage. Back up front, Bart de Laat still leading through turns 4 and 5. Yeah,
unfortunately we did see an accident there with Daniel just a little bit further back. So just the only one really to suffer out there. Doesn't look like Castillo took to the grid, so he's way down there at the moment as well.
So the leaders head through turn 6. So Bart de Laat with Philip Labour just behind in 2nd, Ricardo Ferreira in 3rd. Vinicius Rocha showing front wing damage in 4th, but they needed so front wing damage for me in qualifying, so hopefully that's just a visual bug for him. Lionel Gammett then in 5th, Graham Carroll in 6th, Marco Derricks is the loser so far in 7th, he's lost a couple of positions maybe, Chris McGowan then in 8th, and Paul Clapp 9th, Fahim Antonedes in 10th.
Yeah, I think that high curb coming down the sort of like the sweeping back straight that they zip across is what's giving them the wing damage there.
And I see Steinhurst and Marco Derricks, sorry Alex, still going side by side as they head into the chicane at turns 10 and 11. Steinhurst, Shorthurst, sorry, holds on for now still. Marco Derricks looking to come back at him.
Yeah, they want to get a move done before they reach the main straight.
Yeah, Shorthurst feels needs to defend very early, goes right up against the pit wall all the way down the front straight, side by side just behind as well between McGowan and Clapp. So
we've got someone jumping into the pits in the background, hopefully we can pick up on who that is shortly.
So the top 6 cars really starting to break away now as there's battle between Shorthurst and Derrick, backs everyone else up behind. Oh, I see instant up of the leaders there. Philip Labour had a big issue going into turns 3, I think, and he's really got everyone else tangled up behind him. I think hopefully there wasn't any other damage for the rest of them. We'll try and get a replay and see exactly what happened, but I think Labour is going to have a little bit of front wing damage, I think. Yeah, just having a look at the replay now coming out of turn 1. He just runs a little wide there, and I wonder if that's probably what lets I think that's Ferrer behind him at that point, just get a little run. No, he manages to defend, but then he runs wide again and gets himself all out of shape. Do you know what? I think everybody avoided him. He just everyone just gets all bunched up. But what that has done is let Bart de Laat escape. Yeah, big opportunity now for Bart de Laat to really keep this gap and not let anyone sit in that draft down the main straight. That 6-car group now has been dragged right back into the main pack, and that's a 7-8 car train now leading from 2nd all the way back to 11th position of Paul Clapp. Yeah, 1.9 seconds is the lead now that Bart's got out there, so he'll be happy for that little instant, and I'm sure he's broke the draft, so he can just push on now and use that pace that he had in qualifying and practice just to build this gap. We've seen in previous rounds that breaking that slipstream is the hard part. Guys have took to some cunning strategy in the pits to try and do that in previous rounds, but yeah, it's kind of fallen here nicely for Bart. Yeah, for any new viewers to this series, we have got an enforced pit stop for this series. They're fuel limited, so you've got a little pit window which they'll all tend to take sort of 2/3 of the way into the race or so generally, and we've seen in previous rounds that really has tended to shuffle up the order a little bit. Looks like Shaw's there just having a little look on Philippe going into turn 1, wasn't able to make the move around the outside. Philippe definitely seems to be struggling a little bit out there, already losing ground on Graham Carroll ahead of him, so not quite sure what's going on there. Maybe just overheat the tyres a little bit too much with
that little escapade that he had that previous lap, and he's suffering out there now.
Yeah, not seeing any visual damage, but as you said, he seems to be just struggling to hang a little bit onto the back of that second group. So, yeah, Bart de Laat up ahead in P1. We've got Ricardo Ferreira then in second, with Vinicius Rocha tucked in behind in third. Lionel Gummett then, this new driver for us in this series, in fourth, with Graham Carroll in fifth. Philip Labour then recovering in that sixth position. Stein Shorthurst in seventh, with Marco Derricks eighth. Paul Clapp then in ninth, and it's Chris McGowan now who is in 10th position.
Yeah, Graham Carroll really close to Gummett here going into the chicane. Perhaps still a little bit too far back to make a move. Yeah, thinks better of it this time by just tucks in. I have to say it's really easy to get an off-track slowdown penalty through that chicane, just from my own personal experience there. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Very easy to force a driver into making a mistake there, I think.
Yeah, and Shorthurst and Derricks are still going full at it as they headed back into chicane there. Shorthurst had to defend hard again and managed to hold on to position. And in fact, has got a pretty good run coming out the final corner on Philip Labour, so we'll see how much he struggles. I see up in the lead pack that Ricardo Ferreira is feeling needs to defend as they head to turn 1 as well.
Yeah, Ricardo 0.2 of a second in front as they cross the line, so a little bit. Here comes Shorthurst round the outside of Labour. This time still can't carry enough momentum to get a run out of the corner. So, but Philippe definitely struggling out there. So, I wonder if he picked up some damage. I mean, didn't half slide across the track, and those are quite high curbs around that area as well. So, he could have just twisted up a little bit of suspension there.
Yeah, Philip Labour currently second in the championship to Sebastian Job, who we're missing here in this round. So, you know, any points that he can hang on to might make a difference in any drop rounds that get added up at the total at the end of the season. So the best 9 from 13 rounds is what they're taking. So he needs to keep trying to push on for this end result here, and it might make a point or two difference at the end of the season, perhaps.
Having a little look further back, Duncan Coppedge starting to put a little bit of pressure on Will Fisher, and he's got Torp behind him as well. So these three are having a good little battle. Seriously close. Coppedge through that sweeping right-hander, going into the sort of slower one before this switches back to the left. Before so many different lines that can be taken through this track's really wide there, and does open up, and you do wonder.
Graham Carroll, sorry Alex, Graham Carroll looking to go up the inside of Lionel as they head through the chicane, and Lionel took it, I think quite rightly, pretty cautiously, and in the end Graham Carroll was able to carry a lot more momentum through that chicane, so he's moved up now into that 4th position. So yeah, I could see Graham Carroll lining him up for the previous few corners, and just managed to get that run leading to turns 10 and 11.
Yeah, and Shorthurst there just went around the outside, just saw that on screen there of Labour there as well, so he's finally managed to make his way past. And actually I think that was that Clapp just behind there as well. Is Paul there just, oh, he's backed out of it. I thought he was going to have a little run, but he actually lifted down the back straight just on board there for a second, and definitely had a run at Derricks. I thought he'd have put a move in there.
Yeah, and Lionel Gummett tried to have a big run into turn 1 on Graham Carroll as well, got right up along the side but had to bail out of it at the end, and Graham Carroll held on to that 4th place. So we've got the field stringing out a little bit. We've got little pairs of cars heading along now. So we've got 2nd and 3rd, Ricardo Ferreira and Vinicius Rocha. We've got 4th and 5th, Graham Carroll and Lionel Gummett. We've got Shorthurst and Labour then in 6th and 7th, with Marco Derricks 8th and Paul Clapp in 9th. So yeah, got all these little pairs running through the top 10.
We've got Vincent here, just well, it was just a 0.1 of a second, but this little grouping, which is 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, really close, starting to put a lot of pressure on each other at the moment.
Yeah, and in that battle, Alex, I was just about to point out that Matt Defoe is in that 12th position. So from his 19th, I think it was on the grid, he's had a strong opening since the race.
Yeah, good drive from Matt, showing that he's got the consistency pace out there, as we normally expect to see from him, but just perhaps struggled in his raw 1-lap pace today.
Yeah, there's no sign of Bart de Laat at the moment getting pegged in by the cars behind. So on the previous lap, Bart de Laat was 700ths of a second quicker than Ferreira and Rocha behind. So he's, banging in these laps, and we saw it, most of the race last week. He was able to run at a really strong pace, which is one little error that ultimately cost him. So he's yeah, going to be trying to keep his concentration all the way right to the very, very last lap of the race and make sure he can get in there. I'm seeing Shorthurst having to fend hard from Philip Labour as I head towards turn 1. Philip Labour going to try and go around the outside. He is showing front wing damage for me now, which he wasn't before. They almost touch wheels as they enter the corner. Philip Labour trying to drive around the outside as we saw Shorthurst tried to do early. He hangs on, so I think Philip Labour's going to have this now. Turn 2, he's got the inside line. He's going to carry the momentum then into turn 3. Oh, is he going to run wide again, like same place he did before? Everyone else has scraped through just about. Shorthurst gets past, and Derricks manages to not run into the back of him.
Yeah, it looked like he had the move there, done and dusted. Labour up there, he would have had the high ground for that sharp left-hander, but yeah, just run it out wide. It's such a deceiving little corner actually, and from my personal experience when I've drove the F1 car around here, that is far too easy to do, so too wide, making it very tricky.
Yeah, it feels like there's a good few corners on this track where it likes to suck you out on the exit. The final corner, of course, is one that, or the penultimate corner, I guess, really, it is turn 12, is one that springs to mind as well. We've got a 4-car group now of Shorthurst, Labour, Derricks and Clapp battling for 6th position, as Philip Labour looks to go up the inside of Shorthurst as they head into turn 9, but doesn't quite able to carry enough momentum to make that stick. Might have a good run now as they head to the chicane.
Yeah, and Shorthurst here defending early. Philippe decides perhaps not best to go for it and actually finds himself under pressure from Derricks now, so wants to have a little look through this final corner. That 4-car group in the background as well, we can just see is Rob Reed, Marty, Senzio and Coppage.
Alright, so I'm watching now Shorthurst lead this little 4-car group down the main straight, so he hugs over to the pit wall straight away. All 4 cars tucked in each other's slipstream. Philip Labour's going to have to try and go around the outside again. We saw he was able to do it the previous lap, but he needs to hang on to a track this time. So, doesn't quite carry the momentum maybe on the entry to the corner that he did last time. He's just barely hanging on to the side of Shorthurst. Going to be a little bit closer this time between the two. Shorthurst might just hang in there into turn 3. Labour pushes out wide, hangs onto the edge of the track this time. Derricks looking to take an opportune moment into turn 3, but doesn't quite make a move. So Philip Labour, yeah, second attempt at it, manages to move up into 6th position.
Yeah, Derricks wasn't sure who was going to come out on top of that one. I think his idea was to follow who was going to be the quickest to and come out of the lead position there. But yeah, in the end, he was caught between who was going to get the high ground. Interestingly, while these guys were fighting as well, Bart Glatt just put the fastest lap of the race in on 154.284 to move himself 2.6 seconds clear now. So he's pulling away about half a tenth to a tenth of a second a lap on average.
And that would have given him pole position for the race, for the qualifying as well.
Having a look at the little battle further back between Matt Defoe, Rob Reed, and the group in behind. So battling for this is 11th place. Rob looks like he's got a bit of a run going down into the chicane. Will he make a little look? Pokes his nose out, but thinks better of it. Just see the variation in lines between there. Obviously tricky little corner as well. The camber through there means you can really lean on that, get on the power early and help it rotate the car around.
And so it's going to be Philip Labour's turn this time to go and hug the pit wall as they head down the main straight. I think Shorthurst has got a pretty good top speed, it looks like, as he's heading down here, but Philip Labour, yeah, I think he's going to have this covered as they head to turn 1, but Derricks looking again to be opportunistic and try and capitalise on Steinhurst not able to take his natural line. Steinhurst, I was really surprised that able to carry so much speed around the outside that time. I didn't think he was going to get anywhere near to getting that move done, but he's hanging on side by side heading into turn 2. Gonna just hold the inside line now into turn 3, and Derricks now has worked that opportunistic moment. He's alongside now Labour, but I don't think he's going to quite get the drive coming out of the corner. So great job by Shorthurst there. I didn't think he had the legs coming down the front straight.
Yeah, clearly learnt there from what Labour had done the previous two laps, so he knew that he needed to take that little bit of extra speed and hold that position out there. And we got smoke ahead. Who's that?
Yeah, it's Lionel Gamet, that was. So he was running in 4th position, or 5th position. So he's only lost just a couple of seconds actually. I think he didn't turn out too bad from that, but he's going to quickly get sucked into this battle behind if he's not careful.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what Shorthurst really needed as well. So these guys just constantly changing position down that back straight with the draft. So now he's got someone that he can just sort of tag onto the back of as well and go on the offensive when they get up to him. Got Rocha and Ferrer as well. They've got a bit of a gap between them now, so it's just these two battling at it. Rocha free really to have a go, knowing that he's not going to have, I think it was Gamut that was behind him, sit by and move up into the position.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Rocha's sitting there biding his time, and I haven't seen him make any moves, but I've always seen him just a couple of attempts behind. I say that now, but Ferreira right on cue has to go defensive down the front straight, but decides he's got it covered and moves back over to his racing line. Scrolling back down the field, I see the Philip Labour again looking to repeat the move we've seen a few times now, looking to make this outside line around turn 1, as I see Matt Defoe in the background defending as well. We'll catch up on how that turns out in a moment. Philip Labour going to try and hold this momentum around the outside as normal. He's going to get the drive out the corner, and I think he's going to have this done as I head into turn 2.
Yeah, side by side, exactly the same move for the last 3 laps now, just in reverse from these two. I have to say, if they stop squabbling, they will get up to Lionel ahead of them there.
And but, talking about squabbling, sorry Alex, Matt Defoe and Rob Reed swapping positions 3 times since the beginning of a lap as I head now into turn 4. So Matt Defoe's lost out for the moment, but yeah, that chopped and changed a good couple of times even in this lap so far.
Yeah, and looks like Matt's not giving up on it already.
Through there, oof. Yep, not the place I looked for him to go up the inside.
I was about to say, you took the words right out of my mouth there as well with the oof. So.
But yeah, it looks like a great little battle to focus on as well. Just hope they don't get tangled up behind with now Victor looking to come up the inside of Matt Defoe. Matt gives him a bit of space, but he's going to hold on for the moment. So after the first couple laps, I was getting worried that this was stringing out quite a lot, but these little packs are really hanging together well, so that slipstream is doing a job down the front straight to hold them all together, as I see Shorthurst trying to go on the outside onto the entry of the chicane, but nothing doing. And the whole time, Paul Clapp seems to just be sitting there in that 9th position quite happily, waiting to see how things are going to develop ahead.
Yeah, we've got 21 laps for this race, so we're only... we're coming on to lap 10 now, so it looks pretty much like these guys are going to carry on tussling, so they're not going to draft up to Gamut ahead. And I think, Philippe in, I think he's decided enough is enough. He can probably be quicker than these guys, but he needs to break the draft, so we've seen this strategy from him before.
Yeah, and this is Marco Derrick's opportunity now, maybe then to make a bit of progress. He's been looking to capitalise on them squabbling ahead, and if he wants to move, now's the time. I was just about to say that I think lap 13 is really as long as we're expecting anyone to go in this race before they need to pit for fuel. But then we were surprised last time out, where a couple of drivers, Bart Delat included, I think it was, who managed to go quite a bit longer. So we'll wait and see. So perhaps everyone within a couple of laps or so are going to start copying Philip Labert's pit stop.
Well, second stop for Labert, so maybe he's got that cancelling the fuel off gig down this time. We know certainly it's cost him big time in the past, and he really tried doing it for the first time last week, as we heard in the interview. So yeah, it looks pretty reasonable, although saying that, there's a couple of guys out there sub 10 seconds, so we'll have to just see how they go. That might just be a little bit too short.
Vinicius Rocha's dropped a little bit off the back of Ferreira now, between 2nd and 3rd position. There's a good 3/4 of a second to a second between them now, so perhaps they've had a little bit of an instant at some point. Certainly last time back, Vinicius Rocha was just a couple of tenths off the pace maybe. Scrolling back now, Marco Derricks is still looking to pressure Shorthurst for that 6th position. As I see, a bit of tyre smoke coming off Lionel Gamut as he braked into that chicane as well.
Yeah, he's steadily pulling away from this group. Last lap was 154.6 and Chase Impact was 155, so they lost a second, so that's all down to the fight.
Vinicius Rocha, sorry Alex, Vinicius Rocha into the pits.
Keep an eye on Rocha, see what he does, check his pit stop time for this one, I think.
Marco Derricks into the pits.
Yeah, and Bart Dirt just again set another fastest lap, 154.205, so he's still pulling away. That was 2 tenths he pulled away from Ricardo that lap. Right, Rocha in. So no tyres, just fuel. Keep an eye on this. He's dropped down to 9th at this point. So guys still coming past. Well, much longer stop, 15.2 seconds. So very long.
Yeah, Philip Labour just crosses the start-finish line now.
Yeah, let's hope Labert's got it sorted, because Derek's was 14.7 seconds as well. So Labert's passed him and got enough of a gap to pull out of the draft. So this might be a good strategy call from Labert. He might have absolutely nailed the pit stop technique this time.
So far back up front, Bart de Laat's been running a faultless race. Started from pole position. Got a little bit of luck at the start. Whippet was squabbling and that enabled him to break away, and he's not really looked back since. So he's got to get a clean run into his pit box and make sure he adjusts that timing of the fuel fine. And he's still got a couple of seconds of margin, so he can maybe not take too much of a risk on entry and exit and cut the fuel too fine maybe. And he should still be pretty safe. And we've got Ferreira then in second with Carroll in third, Lionel Gamet then in fourth, Shorthurst in 5th with Paul Clapp in 6th, Matt Defoe 7th and Marty in 8th position.
It seems like while the guys are going through the pit stop phase with everybody's just spreading themselves apart at the moment, just still keeping an eye on what Bart de Laat does out there, 154.3, so still lapping comfortably quicker than the guys behind. And it looks like Ricardo Ferreira coming in as well.
Everybody in, Alex, apart from Ricardo Ferreira. Graham Carroll hit the wall on pit entry, Alex. He's got damage going down the pit lane.
Well, let's just hope that's not suspension. Oh, no, it won't matter, will they? They get one fast repair. Yeah. So if you're going to do it, there's no better time, I guess.
So Bart de Laat, the only of the lead cars to have continued by. Next up then is Shorthurst, who's continuing on. Matt Defoe and Vincent Marty. I think every single other car then is going to have made their pit stop. So those guys have either taken a big risk or have able to save a lot of fuel. Vinicius Rocha, Alex, has ended up way ahead of Ricardo Ferreira. So Vinicius Rocha, when he pitted, was a good second behind Ferreira. He's got a 3-4 second lead now.
Yeah, Ricardo Ferreira 17.2 seconds in the pits. That means Labert's caught him up just 5 seconds, so he has not nailed that pit stop at all. And Rocha taking full advantage of that. And
Ludwig Perenes has a problem at turn 1. He had a spin onto the inside grass. Don't think he hit the wall at all. Didn't get any damage that I saw, so he's allowed sensibly the traffic to continue by and has now moved on.
And it looks like we've during the pit stops as well, Gamet's caught back up to the back of Carroll, so he's recovered from that little incident he had earlier on. So good pit work by the pit crew. 14.8 seconds. So yeah, just around about 3 seconds he caught up on Carroll. So just goes to show that if you nail your pit stops, get the marks, get good in lap, and work your way through the pit lane quite quickly, here you can catch up a lot of time.
In comes Bart de Laat, Alex, so we'll be watching to see how he comes out compared to Vinicius Rocha. It looked like he hit the speed limit pretty much bang on the cones, and we're looking for between a 12 and 15 second stop really for it to be pretty reasonable, right? Shorthurst goes into pit entry as well.
Yeah, let's just keep an eye on Bart. Just see him making his way to the box now, at the other end of the pit lane.
I'm watching Vinicius Rocha as he just enters now the final turn 13, so it's got a long front straight to get all the way down, and Bart de Laat still stationary in his pit box.
Yeah,
Bart de Laat pulls away.
14.7 seconds for Bart de Laat, so
he's well clear.
Good solid stop, and perhaps made a little bit more time up in the pits as well. I'm showing live timing of 5.5 seconds, so yeah, he's probably pulled away a whole second in that stint.
We've got a big pack of cars developing now as that was Graham Carroll, defending hard from Philip Labour into turn 1. Lionel Gamet then just behind. Marco Derricks has done pretty well out of this. He's holding on to that group. Shorthurst and then McGowan. So pretty much all the cars that we did see in that pack. But actually, Carroll and Gamet, they were a couple of cars further down the line, weren't they? So they've been drawn back into this squabbling pack now, and we saw how hard all these group were fighting for the first half of the race. Ricardo Ferreira has manually disconnected.
Oh, okay. Not sure what happened to Ricardo. Let's see if we can just jump back and perhaps see what happened. Actually, it looks like it might have been quite some time ago, because still not seeing him out there, and so yeah, that must have been a fair while back. So
what's crazy now then, Alex, after this pit stop, is this this 4-pack of cars that we've been watching in the first half of the race are now battling for a podium spot. Before the pit stops, they were battling for 6th and 7th position, I believe. So all of a sudden now, this has become big points for these cars. We've got a 6-car group.
just on screen there, as we were recovering back from the replay, we just saw Antoine Des there just hitting the wall as well. So tricky little pit lane, a few drivers struggling out there.
Philip Labour is keen to get out of this group. We know he should have perhaps a little bit of stronger pace and nose around him, and if he did have any damage, that's cleared now after the pit stops. And he runs wide out of turn 13. I said that's one of the corners that's easy to get sucked out wide on, and he managed to just hang on and runs wide out the final run as well. And we've got this snake of cars hanging down the track. Philip Labour's got a great run. He's going to get this move done.
Yeah,
no. So close.
He's practiced this a few times already, so while Carroll's not had this move put on him, and actually just squeezes a little bit there, but Philippe's still managing to hold it round there.
And is Philippe going to be able to hang on to the edge of the track this time? He does. And I think Lionel Gammett's going to be opportunistic on Graham Carroll. Graham Carroll is a bit of oversteer. Lionel Gammett's going to get a much better run out that corner, I think. And they're going to be side by side heading now through that faster section. In fact, Graham Carroll recovers.
Yeah, he was able to get straight in the draft, I think, which helped there from Labour up there. So yeah, these we were talking to the guys, and I don't think we get an appreciation of how much the draft makes such an effect to these cars, and I think we've just seen it there, that even though he should have been on the back foot, he was able to use the draft directly behind Philippe to hold on to that position.
Ooh, it's a free wide, Alex.
I was about to say, just going to have a little look at that back. Who was it who come off? That was Lambert, come off worst. Yeah, he's upside down at the moment. Let's just take a quick jump back, because that was never going to end well, all three of them going into that corner like that.
Yeah, it was a shame. It looked as much as anything else, just like they were all shaping up to make the move on the car in front, and it's just perhaps rather a timing thing rather than a crazy idea, maybe, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, that's I have to say that's probably a slam dunk racing incident, but if anything, I think Gammett should have seen that they were up his inside and let him have it. In my mind, there he was just trying to close down a gap that was always going to get a car's nose up the inside there, and he was going to come off worse, being he was on the outside. So yeah, I'm surprised he tried to push the case as much and close the door, and ended up coming off worse.
Graham Carroll looking to repay the favour on Philip Labour, repeating his move at the scenes of time, but he isn't quite able to pull it off. I don't know, he done a good job of hanging on around the outside of turn 2. I thought he had lost out, and he did make that move, so great job by Carroll. He hadn't managed to get as alongside as we've seen everyone else needed to do, and he had just about kept enough of his front wing alongside Philip Labour's rear tyre. They're side by side now, Alex. They, I wasn't expecting Philip Labour to quite go side by side as they headed through turn 5, but he did have to slot back in as perhaps I would have expected a bit more.
Yeah, he seemed to get a good run out of the hairpin there. He sort of tried to switch back a little bit, but not enough to get enough of a run to get past. So doesn't seem like the car gets too much side draft. It's only really when they're directly behind. Just having a little look further back, good battle going on between Asensio and Fisher here as well. Coppage in there. Oh, we could have a repeat.
Alex, we've had contact between Philip Labert and Stein Shorthurst. If you want to dig that replay up when you get a chance, Philip Labert had a big sideways moment coming through turn 9, and as he caught it, he just speared him straight across the front of Steinhurst. They're both continuing on for now. I think Labert has come off worse.
Yeah, I'll just bring a little replay up. You keep an eye on that little battle further back between Fisher, Torp and Coppage, because they are absolutely going at it at the moment.
Oh, and as you say that, yeah, I see them, Alex. Oh, side by side through the chicane, and spinner in front as well. It's all going off all at once. So Asensio spins in front of Torp and Fisher, but they fortunately managed to continue on. Torp is currently ahead of Fisher.
got jumped back just a little bit too far, unfortunately, for this replay, as we're just getting a little look of Graham Carroll putting this move back on Philippe, and then shortly after that we're going to see this this contact. But again, it's just worth watching this because it was a good little move and good battle between these two.
And Philippe Labour has pitted for repairs.
Yeah, he seems to be a driver that does struggle a little bit with luck, doesn't get his fair share of it, and you know, good strategy call to get himself in early, and you know, get out of the squabble that was going on, and he managed to work his way up, and he dragged the whole pack effectively back up to these guys ahead. So, but yeah, potentially another podium taken away from him. Right, I think we're about to come up to the up to where the incident happens now. So we're just going downhill through this fast right-hander, and then we've got the right-left section, and you can see Shorehurst here closing in through the right, coming into the left. Labour having a look round the outside. Oh, he just gets himself all out of shape. Actually, that was the cause of it. It was not anything going on there. It was just Labour again, bit of a mistake himself. And yeah, I'm not surprised he got some damage. Looks like front right there as well. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah, nothing to do with luck or anything like that this time. It was yeah, all driver error.
And so back up front, Bart de Laat is yeah, well on his way to his first win here in the Skip Barber 2K Cup. So he's entered lap 17 of 21. He's still running just 2/10 off his qualifying pace that got him that pole position as well. So Bart de Laat in first, Vinicius Rocha with very strong but a distant second. Graham Carroll in third has all of a sudden been caught right up by Stein Shorthurst. So there's going to be a bit of a battle going on for that last podium spot now. Marco Derrickson in 5th, Paul Clapp in 6th, Matt Defoe 7th, so 19th on the grid I think it was, to 7th position. Rob Reed in 8th, Vicente Marti in 9th, and then Thomas Torp is desperately fighting Will Fisher and Duncan Coppage for that 10th position.
Yeah, great little battle actually between these three. I think they've been sort of in each other's pockets all race long, and we've just got 5 laps to go now, so I'm sure all three of them will want to win this battle between them. Another driver actually needs a good shout out really, and that's Shorthurst. He's been in battles all race long, and you know, he's kept his nose clean pretty much through it all, and finds himself with a chance here of a podium position as well. And I have to say, I think he's in a bit of a driving seat. Derrick's is really struggling now. You can see him in the background pushing perhaps a little bit too hard to close in on these guys ahead, and they're gapping him now as well up to 2 seconds, so he can really focus on the rear of Carroll now.
Yeah, it was looking like Carroll was breaking a gap just a couple of laps even ago, but yeah, it's looking a lot harder work now for him to hold on to that podium position. It's also looking pretty tough for Paul Clapp to try and hold on to 6th with Matt Defoe looking pretty consistent as he's been heading through this first half of the race, or 2/3 of the race now. And still Thomas Torp is leading from Will Fisher, but Will Fisher looked like he's been lining him up for the previous couple of corners. I think he's going to get a decent shout now as I head down the front straight, and we'll be looking for this this move we've seen from everyone pretty much heading to turn 1.
Yeah, it seems to be about 0.3 of a second they can get down this straight, so if you get within that, then you've got a chance of a move. He was having a little look up the inside, but no way to get up there. Fisher then round the outside. Torp gets a good line, good run through. Fisher just not holding it tight enough. He will get a bit of a run here, but it's not going to be enough. We've seen the only real way is round the outside.
Sorry. I think that was, sorry, I was just agreeing with what you're saying about his line. Sorry, here. I think the difference was he was just maybe a car's width further to the left than the successful moves we've seen. I think he just overcooked it ever so slightly on that braking to turn 1, and yeah, that of course cost him that opportunity. Quickly scrolling back through, looking pretty status quo between everyone else. A couple of attempts between Carroll and Shorthurst still, and a couple of attempts between Clapp and Defoe. Yeah,
4 laps to go. These guys are going to need to make a move fairly fairly quickly, I think, and try and build on it, or it might be just be a case of let's do it on the last lap. Who knows? It's tricky to say with this 2K series. Drivers out there are pretty savvy, I have to say, and we've seen last lap moves before. Having a little look further back just to see if anything else is going on. It just looks like the only other battle is P21, P22 Cavalier. Just quickly have a look at that. He's 0.9 of a second behind, so might be able to catch back up and make a final move, but yeah, struggling a little bit out there. George Wiseman all the way down in 20th place. What's that all about? He's normally a lot higher up, so yeah, struggling out there today. Sometimes this Zandvoort track just does not suit. Labour in 14th, he's in a little bit of a sandwich at the moment, and we've had a change of position, or about to have a change of position, sorry. Round the outside goes Shorthurst there, gets the move done. Carroll, he's actually conceded it before the right-hander, so good move there to get the move done all the way around the outside in turn 1. Oh, gets out of shape. This is going to let Carroll get a run up the hill though.
Yeah, there's not really been any space from turn 5 through turns 5 and 6 here, but Carroll does look to go up the inside initially. That's going to put him now for the outside for the next 2 corners. Shorthurst just needs to hang in there, and he should be pretty safe. But Carroll's going to try and carry that momentum, but quite rightly has to just bail out of it at the end. So wasn't quite able to push far enough up. But it looks to go up the inside for the next corner, but nothing doing.
Yeah, I thought he managed to get a little bit of a cutback there as well through that fast section, but looks like Stein had that covered quite nicely. He just placed his car where he needed to make it very, very difficult for Carroll.
They take very, very different lines through turns 7 and 8, so Carroll looking to try and straighten up the exit of those corners as much as possible, whereas Shorthurst may be looking for the apex speed a little bit more, and looks like Shorthurst perhaps was the person to gain maybe a tenth or so, if that.
Yeah, down, braking hard, and Carroll gets it all out of shape. He's going to lose a boatload of time here, and with only 3 laps to go, he's going to be really hard pushed to get right back onto the tail here of Shorthurst to make a move.
And jumping back to our battle between Torp, Fisher and Coppedge, they're all still in the order that they were. Torp in 10th, Fisher in 11th and Coppedge in 12th. If anything now, it looks like Coppedge may be the person looking to push forward.
Yeah, let's just stay with this battle this time as they're coming onto this back straight, and actually Torp gets himself out of shape, so he's going to struggle a little bit here, but I think Fisher's going to be too worried about what's going on behind. He needs to make sure he stays in the slipstream. It's the only way I think he's really going to be able to defend here.
Yeah, so Coppedge wasn't quite able to hang in there enough. It's difficult when you're following in someone else's slipstream as well to gain enough, so definitely need to keep watching him as we go through the next couple of laps. Torp, or Fisher rather, runs just slightly wide coming out of turn 1 there. We've got a new 3-car group that's developed with Marco Derricks very quickly having been caught by Paul Clapp and Matt Defoe, so 5th, 6th and 7th is developing now. Graham Carroll still just a couple of tenths then behind Shorthurst, battling for that final podium spot.
Yeah, we had seen Derek struggling out there since he dropped the tail of the 2 cars in front of him. He was really overdriving the car a little bit, and I think he's really paying the price now. Tyres are just overheated, haven't got the grip that he wants out there, and these guys could really swamp him very quickly in these last 2 laps. Oh! Big moment there for that was Clapp, wasn't it? Yeah, huge moment. He's had to concede the position. Defoe flips by nicely. I'm not sure, he's probably lost the draft here on Derek, so I think they're going to pretty much stay as you are for the next lap, unless any of them make a mistake, of course. But still, up to 6, I pretty much know who my driver of the day is going to be.
So
Carroll 0.2 of a second behind, 0.1 of a second on the live timing screen. So this is going to be it, last lap.
So yeah, Bart de Laat on the final lap now, leading this race as we got Shorthurst already having lost the position. It looks like turn 1, but brakes much later than Graham Carroll. Graham Carroll's had a bit of practice trying to run around the outside. I think he's going to hang in there, but Shorthurst squeezes him initially and then gives him a bit more space. Carroll's got the momentum, and Shorthurst's going to dive up late. just about hangs onto the inside line, and Graham Carroll now is hanging on to that third spot.
Yeah, I think the drivers have pulled that move enough now to know what's going to go on, and Shorthurst, unfortunately, they tried something a little bit, tried squeezing a little bit more, but still couldn't defend.
So I'm watching now, Alex, our race leader, Bart Delat, coming through turn 7, heading towards turn 8. He's run in every single race so far, Alex, for this Skip Barber 2K Cup season. He's had a 4th position and 8th, a 15th. This is going to be by far his strongest result. He had great pace last week out at Barber Motorsport Park, but just made a little error that cost him a stronger result that it could have been. But he's going to have here pole position. I would hesitate to guess probably fastest lap, and the race win. So it's going to be the full hat-trick of bonus points that he could get as well. He's got just 2 corners to go, and Bart Delat, no doubt, is holding his breath now, gently working his way through his last 2 corners, and a great drive from Bart Delat. We've not seen him put a foot wrong off the start line, breaks away after the first lap of cars squabbling behind, comes over to the pit wall to congratulate with his virtual pit team, and yeah, we're really pleased up here in the commentary box for Bart Delat. So a great result, 1st position. Finishes Rocher then coming over the line in 2nd. We'll talk about that, what that'll do for his championship in just a few minutes. Graham Carroll has secured that podium spot, so he's in 3rd coming over the line, with Shorthurst taking it easy for that last lap in 4th. Matt Defoe, Alex, has come across the line now in 5th position. So Matt Defoe, 19th on the grid, 5th position finish. Paul Clapp is going to finish in 6th. That will put then Rob Reed then in 7th. Marco Derricks, I didn't quite catch whether he came.
Actually, Derricks run out of fuel and lost the place there to Marty right at the end, so I believe, I'm not sure. Actually,
yeah.
Now looking at it, it's going to be close. My timing screen struggles, so we'll have to wait for the official figures to come through for that one.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Marco Derricks lost out massively. I was surprised to see you know, Matt Defoe come across the line in 5th, and that explains it. Yeah, so Marco Derricks yeah, pushed that fuel just that a little bit too much at the hard second half of the race for him. So yeah, it was Paul Clapp I got up to then in 6th, Rob Reed then in 7th, Vincenzo Marti in 8th, Marco Derricks 9th. That's, you know, disappointing for Marco. He's looking like he was going to get a strong result, top 5 position really. Thomas Torp did manage to hang on in that little battle for 10th, but Duncan Cobbage did pip Will Fisher for 11th and 12th position. Philip Labour, after his extra pit stop, finishes in 13th. Chris McGowan in 14th. Daniel Del Palez, in 15th. Dan Nygaard in 16th. Mike McCormick in 17th. George Wiseman in 18th. Rudd Evans in 19th. Ed Cavalier in 20th. Lionel Gamet after his incident earlier on in 21st. Peter Joyce in 22nd. Ludwig Paranez in 23rd. Victor Ansenzio 24th. And he was the last of the runners.
Yeah, good hard racing out there again. Actually, you know, Zandvoort really made for some good racing today around that outside, that camber turn 1. I did say there would be some moves around there, and just goes to show the drivers actually opt in to do that. It just didn't matter if you defended up the inside, and I wonder actually if drivers wouldn't have been better off just letting them have that inside line and then them getting the high ground. So no one really chose that option. Always tried to defend it up the inside. Just didn't work all race long.
Yeah, it was really, you know, without that little sequence there, those first 2-3 corners, we didn't really see moves anywhere else unless there'd been a mistake from the car ahead. So, yeah, pretty thankful for that little switchback layout there at the start to enable that opportunity. But yeah, great racing. You know, we had a few incidents, not not too many, thankfully. You know, not looking at Okayama kind of stewards having to review every instant of the race, fortunately. But a little bit of drama, unlucky. I think for Lionel Gamet springs to mind. He was looking like he could have been hanging in perhaps for a podium position if he had, if things had gone well for him in that second half of the race. In terms of people who things went well for on that race, I think really the winner in there, you know, for the championship was going to be Vinicius Rocha. You look at the drivers around him in the championship. Sebastian Job wasn't here today. Philip Labour scored way down in 13th position. Ricardo Ferreira disconnected. Graham Carroll held on to that podium spot, so he was the one guy to get some good points. Brancini wasn't here, LJ Garnett wasn't here, Clive Armstrong, and it's not until we get down to Bart Delat in 9th in the championship who scored more points. So Vinicius Rocha, very, very strong for his championship there. 2nd position, everyone else really not scoring around him.
Yeah, it's I mean, for the most part, it's not going to make too much difference. But yeah, Rocha definitely very happy. I think with that second place, we saw him weave across the line, which shows you how happy he was with those points. I think, and yeah, he's definitely going to put the pressure onto Sebastian. Having a quick look at the replay from up in the blimp. Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened at the start with Daniel again, but just sort of saw it very off late in the incident. But for the most part, I tell you what, guys are really sensible in that first lap. So easy around here. It's not actually a wide track at all to get in amongst each other. And everyone very sensible going through the really tight twisty sections in single file.
Yes, it's it's deceivingly narrow in places because it's quite open. It doesn't feel very enclosed, but yeah, not a lot of space for these 28 cars that we had here this week for these 21 laps around Zandvoort out in the dunes. We've got Philip Labour, I think, possibly around for interview. He's just moved up into the Ready for Interview channel, so we'll see how Philip feels that his instance he was involved in went, and what that might mean for his championship.
Yeah, let's just drag him up and have a quick word.
So good evening, Philippe. Not quite the race you were hoping for, I'm sure, before we even started, but certainly you knew you had good pace lining up second on the grid.
Well, at least it was spectacular, and congratulations to Bart for his first win. I think he deserved it after all the bad luck he had this season, so it was an interesting race.
Yeah, certainly the race seemed to fall into the hands of Bart de Laat a little bit when on that first lap there was a little bit of tangling of that lead group of cars that you were involved with at the start that allowed him to get away. How were those opening laps from your seat, Philippe?
Well, I think you all saw that mistake I made on the first lap, and after that I went wide on the final turn and I damaged my front wing, and then I had terrible understeer all the way through to the pit stop, so I had a hard time defending from everyone behind me. So I finally made the pit stop at lap 9. For once I made a perfect pit stop, I think, but it wasn't to be, because when I was lapping another car, first Ricardo hit him, I think, and then the next turn I misjudged the passing move and it went off, so and then it all went downhill from there.
Just talking about the perfect pit stop, you indeed did have the perfect pit stop, 12.0 seconds. I'm just looking at the list now. That was the fastest pit stop of the race, so looks like you've got that technique down now.
Yeah, I think I practiced about 100 pit stops or so, so I know I have it nailed now. So it's good to hear that I have the fastest pit stop for once.
We saw a lot of drivers going around the outside of turn 1 today. I mentioned that that was a possibility with the Canberra corners, but no one really opted to let anyone have the inside line and defend around the outside. I just obviously yourself and a few others had a lot of battles around there. Just tell us about that section of the track and how hard it is to both defend and attack.
Well, it's a little strange because if you're behind and you attack and you go around the outside, there's a good chance that you can pass around the outside. But if you defend on the outside, it never works. I don't know why. It's some magic. So I always try to defend on the inside just to be safe.
And so next week, Philippe, it looks like we're at Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, which is a favourite of mine, but not with everyone I know. How are you looking forward to that next week for the Skippy, Philippe?
Well, it's one of the most fun tracks of the season, I think. It's extremely quick. I think all the corners except for the hairpin routes, I think it's called, all the corners are 3rd or 4th or 5th gear, so it's it's a very quick lap and a lot of drafting. So you'll see groups of cars just like today, I think.
Yeah, certainly a track that should lend to that. So looking forward to seeing some close racing again there. You know, as we said, Philippe, you know, tough little race for you, but for this individual race, you know, you look at who else scored around you in the championship, and really it was only Vinicius Rocha who managed to store strong points with Sebastian Job not being here and Ricardo Ferreira disconnecting. So if you're still going to be well and truly in the hunt, especially as these drop rounds keep ticking away as we go through the rest of the season. So we look forward to seeing you up and around that sharp end again, battling with Sebastian and Vinicius through the rest of the season, no doubt.
Yeah, I look forward to next week, and I hope Sebastian will be there, because it's better to have all the championship contenders in the race.
And of course, we may well continue to see Bart de Laat in and amongst you guys as well, perhaps moving his way up those standings from his 9th position that he was at the start of this race. Right, so thank you again, Philippe. Thank you for putting together this series as well, and we look forward to seeing you then next week.
All right, thank you for the broadcast. It was great.
And so, as tends to be the theme in Alex, looks like we don't have anyone else around for interviews. So again, just to remind the drivers looking back, if you do want to come and have a quick chat to us at the end of the race, and all the team speak details are up on the weekly thread in the iRacing forum. So feel free to jump in, and we can see how your race went. Yeah, it was a little corker, Alex, wasn't it? It's Zandvoort at the beginning. You know, it felt like everyone was going to start stringing out a bit, but it ebbed and flowed very nicely through the race.
Yeah, I think actually we perhaps underestimated how the race was going to go. The guys obviously mentioned that that back straight, or the main straight, sorry, how much draft there was on there last week when we interviewed, I think, Philippe then as well. So yeah, I'm not surprised we've seen these little packs, and actually the pit stops worked really, really well this week. Normally it spreads them out, but in fact it just drew everybody much, much closer together, and we had some great battles following that. So
yeah, Brands Hatch, Alex, definitely looking forward to seeing this cars get around in what is one of our local circuits, and certainly a favourite of mine. I mean, it's not a favourite of everyone, Alex. How do you find Brands?
I don't actually mind Brands. I think my biggest problem with Brands is that whenever I seem to run it, I always seem to run it in a tin top car. So you know me and tin tops, they just don't gel. So I always find that I'm actually quite slow there. But I just think that's just because I'm always in cars that don't suit me. So but for the most part, I quite like the layout. It's got a good flow to it and everything. But yeah, I just can't seem to get the big heavy cars to work. So I always have a little bit of a reservation about the track, because I feel that I'm always a few tenths off of my sort of rivals around there. But yeah, I like it nonetheless. But I just wish I was faster.
Good. Well, we look forward to seeing you all again back for round 8 it will be at Brands Hatch, and same time again, 9 o'clock British Summer Time, 8 o'clock GMT, and yeah, this has been Apex Racing TV. I've been Lee Thompson and Alex Simpson again on Double GT cameras and commentary. We'll see you again next week. Thank you.
Absolutely incredible! Ding dong, are we going to see a race now? And into the pit lane. What's the strategy going to be? Bingo! It's my game! Smith. There